Welcome back. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for ending my engagement because of his demands about our prenup? I, 37 female, recently got a lump sum for a career project that turned into a whole company. I got into an agreement with a company that has been reselling my services via out-licensing and long-term corporate VJs. When I signed the paperwork, I felt like I had the opportunity to build a financial future, but my relationship wouldn't be affected. This has not been the case, and I'm very put off to the point of breaking our engagement. We've been together for 4 years. I met him on the last leg of my struggle to get what has become my working life's motivation. This project has been all-consuming, and aside from that, I only had time for my family. I have very good friends, but everyone is busy. I didn't date or go out. When Sean, 43 male, came along, I was swept off my feet because I wasn't expecting to find someone that I liked so much. We shared the same sense of humor, and I became really attracted to him, both emotionally and physically. Sean is divorced. He has average office assistant skills and works for a small government agency. Our salary gap was not a huge deal as I invested a lot on my project, so whatever money I kept for myself went to my priorities that are non-negotiable. I take care of my family and pay bills. He did have hobbies that he spent time on, but when I met him, he was in between jobs and had to wait 4 months until he became active at his new job at the agency. We were both thin on money. I was very happy to have a guy who didn't pressure me to wear certain styles. I'm more of a flats and comfy clothes lady. When my ex before him demanded that I look trendy and said things that nullified my self-esteem, I knew he was on food stamps, very briefly, and chalked it up to a bad situation that was temporary. There was huge mutual acceptance. We tried to start a small consulting company, but it didn't work out. I noticed that he wasn't ready to co-manage, and after a long conversation, we mutually decided to call it off. We had been talking about marriage for a while, and when he proposed, the subject of a prenup was no surprise, and we had already agreed on having one. Even if I had nothing, I see it as a way to protect ourselves and each other from potential situations. I'm in a niche market that deals with loss prevention, and I've seen people getting into lawsuits. We had drafted a plan but had some tense moments. He closed off at the lawyer's office and created a tense environment during our second meeting. Nothing that we had agreed on was getting followed through, and he kept asking for things and raising the bar. He got his own lawyer, which would have been okay, except that he never told me. And his attorney showed up, and I didn't even know he hired one. We had to pause the prenup after he almost bit my head off outside of my lawyer's office when I refused to give his daughter shares of my existing company. That's a no-go for me, and I would rather stay unmarried. I built that company to leave something to my children. I'm the only parent looking out of them, as my ex has been kind of a deadbeat. Sean wasn't even in the picture when I started it. I will not create a trust fund for his child either, like he asked. None of this requests has been previously discussed, but came up once his lawyer showed up. I did agree to help her financially, give her an allowance, and help pay for a car. I also agreed to pay full health insurance and contribute to her college housing, plus contribute to her education. She has a successful mom, so my logic is that she already has someone willing to give her a good start in life, since Sean isn't financially able. His daughter is an adult, 18 female, while my kids are in grade school, and I need to make sure they are taken care of while she's already at an age where she can get a job. I offered to contribute to a fund for her first home, but it seems like nothing I offered was good enough. I love his kid, but I didn't raise her, and she will never see me as her mom, and I respect that. Her mom's family owns a business, and her mom owns her home in a very good area. It's not like she depends on me to have a good life. I wanted it to be fair since her mom, Sean, and I could contribute. So Sean and I had an argument because he sent me a breakdown of how much I'm supposed to make off my business over the next few years. I lost my temper because it felt like a gotcha situation. I confronted him about my own kids and asked what he would contribute to them. He went silent. So I said I wanted their names on the deed of a piece of land that he owns but hasn't been able to develop because he doesn't have the funds. He was surprised and accused me of trying to dilute his inheritance to his daughter and being generally unfair since she has less than what my kids will end up having. I just wanted him to see my point, but I made things worse. We used to be able to talk outside of the prenup, but now, if I don't get his sarcasm, it's his dry behavior that's driving me crazy. He said he's surprised at my greed and accused me of othering his child. I'm trying to figure out if I came across as a bad stepmother. Also, I'm not ruling out helping all our kids start their own businesses if they want to, but I can't guarantee its success since we are not there yet. Canceling the engagement sounded like the most sensible decision, and I'm astonished this is actually happening. I don't know how to navigate. His last messages have been very hurtful, and he says I'm showing my true colors and told me thank you for my dishonesty about how I truly feel about his daughter. My best friend is pissed and threatens to put him on blast if he keeps this up. I'm confused since I didn't expect our relationship to end like this. Am I the a-hole? Update. I broke up with him since the whole deal felt like a bitter divorce rather than a step towards married life. You're not the a-hole, OP. Your ex is. He's also manipulative and very controlling. The fact that he wanted you to give in to all of his demands but called you greedy when you asked for something of his is insane. I'm so glad you've broken off the engagement. He wanted to take as much as he could from you. Your shares, your money, and not give you or your kids anything. What kind of partnership or marriage is that? It honestly doesn't sound like a marriage anyone should want to be in. He showed his true colors, and it's a good thing you backed out when you did. You dodged a bullet. Now for some comments. Sounds like his true colors are finally showing now that it's down to the wire. He tried to strong-arm you into things for his benefit, and when you wouldn't do it his way, threw a fit. Honestly, you dodged a bullet. I have a feeling this has been his game plan all along. You're successful, he's not. You've got money, he doesn't. I mean, the writing is on the wall. Not the a-hole. He is a 43-year-old man with an adult child who has an active mother and father. She shouldn't even be a consideration in your prenup. You owe her nothing. No house, no car, no trust fund. And definitely no shares in your company. She is not your child. And you didn't raise her. For me, your post sounds like you have the love goggles on and haven't been seeing all the red flags for the last 4 years. He is showing you his true colors. If you have to stay with him, stay unmarried. Not the a-hole. First off, I'm sorry you're having to experience this, at least from an emotional standpoint. It can't be easy, but to be honest, your stance towards the prenuptial sounded reasonable and, if anything, overly generous to his kiddo, in my opinion. Anyhow, it sounds like he's showing his true colors, and it's fortunate they were on display prior to marrying him. If he helped you build the business venture, it would be one thing, but he didn't. Now he's throwing a tantrum because he wants a one-way contract that only benefits his own kid? Story 2. Am I the a-hole here for telling my wife that's the job you chose? I'm 32 male and my wife is 31 female. We've been together for 5 years and married for 2. We had our kid 5 months ago. For some information, my wife is a stay-at-home mom. She wanted to be a stay-at-home wife, but when I told her what she would have to do around the house, she said no. When she got pregnant, she said she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, which I figured. I did tell her that she would be the primary caretaker of our child, and that she would still have some chores around the house that she would need to do once she fully recovered. For a little more information, she wanted to be a stay-at-home wife because I make a significant amount more than her. I was against it because I didn't want her to always rely on me for money. She spent her whole check when I tried to save money, so we compromised. She could keep her complete check and I'll pay all the bills, and she may do groceries or pay for something else. So now to the story. Our son wakes up in the middle of the night a lot. I think he's scared or hungry, I don't know. If I don't have to go to work the next day, I will get him and take care of him, and sometimes, even if I have to go, I'll get him. A few nights ago, my wife went out with her friends for the first time in a while. I took care of him while she was gone. She had come in loudly and made the baby cry. I asked her if she could get him because I had a big day at work. Yes, she was still up. She said no, she was tired. I said I was also tired. We argued for a minute. I ended up going to get the baby while she went to eat dinner. She asked how come I only get the baby some nights but not all, since she has to take care of him during the day. I told her, you asked to be a stay-at-home mom, you chose this. I told you that it was a 24-hour job if you didn't know the job description. That's not my fault. She got mad and said how was she supposed to know the description of a job she had never had before. I told her he's a baby. He's gonna cry if he hears loud noises or gets scared. That's common sense. I also told her you also never had a job before your first job yet you still did it. I told her that if she wanted to go back to work she could, and then we could split childcare 50-50. She hated that idea and got even more mad at me. I just ended up sleeping in the room next to the babies. So am I the a-hole for saying that? Sorry if it's long. I tried to sum it up as much as possible, and also this is throwaway. Edit. I work 12-hour shifts, and a stay-at-home wife is someone who is like a housewife. If you still don't know, please search it up. When I gave her chores, she had to do it because she was not going to be a stay-at-home wife and do nothing but spend money. For her, being a stay-at-home mom as long as the kid is alive and the house isn't too messy, then I'm fine for now. When he starts crawling, I don't accept it to be as clean as it was when he was a newborn. Edit 2. I do parent my child. When I get home, I take him unless he's asleep, then I let him stay asleep. But as soon as he's up, I'm doing whatever with him while my wife has a break to do whatever she pleases. Yes, some days I cook, other days we go out, and on my off days, she knows she can go wherever she pleases. The reason I called her job 24 hours is because as a mother or father, it is. So she is a mother, that is her job, so yes, it is 24 hours. I think you're both a-holes, OP. This is a marriage. There should be a form of partnership, but it seems like you and your wife don't even understand what that means. I understand that she's now a stay-at-home mom, but that is a very stressful job. And if she's asking you to help out once in a while, you shouldn't be upset. And ask her to go back to work and start paying half of childcare. She also should not be upset with you saying you're tired and can't help out a lot because you work a 12-hour shift. It's not very complicated, and you guys should try to meet each other halfway. You should also look at the whole thing from a place of love. That's the way to go. Now for some comments. Both of you have 24-hour jobs because you both chose to be parents. I could weigh in on who I think should have gotten him this one specific time, but I think there are bigger issues. Nobody is above responding to their children. I got my kids in the night, even if I was home with them all day. My husband got our kids in the middle of the night, even if he worked the next day. He's a doctor. When our twins were born, he was working 80 hours per week. Babies didn't care about our schedule. As a stay-at-home dad, you are not the a-hole. My wife works for her family business, which will be hers eventually, so we decided I would be the one to step back from my career of 20 years. But with that, I understood I was primary caregiver, and to this day, 3 kids later, she can count on 2 hands how many times she had to get up for the baby at night. Stick to your guns. Sounds like your wife wants to check out of being primary caregiver and not work as well. She is trying to take advantage of the situation and you. Do you guys not love each other? A relationship is about compromise, and especially with a baby. You guys need to be on the same page, stop being stubborn and do better at communicating with each other. and do it with care and love. You can't expect your wife to stay home and care for the baby 24/7. As her husband and the father of a child, you need to take some of that responsibility. Imagine what she must be going through being home all day looking after your child. Sometimes you should take her out as well with the baby, or have someone babysit for a couple of hours. You guys are doing this all wrong. You can't have a baby together and stop loving each other. Go back to your roots and find your way back to each other. Treat each other with love and care, man.